leader of the Needless Reformation Party. Your initial sentiments after the results were announced?
Great feeling, something that I wanted, and it was bestowed upon me by the good people of this beloved party.
When in your maiden address, you address a number of things, and one thing you called for, and we hear a lot during the party convention, is encouraging the party supporters to work together, that the enemy is not in this room, the common enemy is the other party. Were after the aftermath of the elections, were there fragmentations in the party?
So not fragmentations within the party per se. When you would have lost an election, believe you me, that in itself can cause changes within the party. People would voice their concern, and what we actually saw were our supporters voicing their concern. And from those concerns, we were able to garner the position that a number of things within the party needs to change. As I said in my speech, we had to do a reflection to make sure we understand why a tried, tested and proven party was rejected, and what I call, in my slow term, imposters were taken on. And so the exercise of losing would have taught us a lot. And today we are here to continue and to strengthen the party based on those suggestions and comments that came from our supporters.
The party, obviously, you're in a renovation move, for lack of a better word. And we've heard the term used by the guest speaker, Mr. Maynard, Mr. Congress Maynard, that we need to rebrand, but to remain core to your true values. Talk to us about the rebranding efforts of the party. We know there are some new faces that would be in the party as well.
Well, we would have had a constitution that we would have not had much amendments to since the inception of the party. Today we were able to ratify a constitution, the amendment. I think our constitution now is on par with any other constitution of political parties within the region. We recognize also that there needed to be some changes or some suggestion and amendment in terms of our structure, and that we have done. Having done that, we have created a strategic plan, the outgoing executive, and that in itself gave us the label or the sort of vision that we would want to see for the party. So all in all, the exercise, rebranding, as you might have heard Congress say, I prefer to look at it as transitioning. Because in any political party, when there is a new leader, there's a transitioning that would take place. You would have heard that I gave the accolades to the Honorable Joseph Barrett, our outgoing party leader, who has kept us together for in excess of 20 years. That is not easy feat. And so it is my intention to stand on the successes, to learn from the failure of the past, and to make sure that I usher this party into a new region with a new level of politics.
Finally, what is the main priority now for the Needless Reformation Party? You talked about going to different constituencies. What's the main objective now for you?
It is, I would want to say, to make sure that we are successful in the upcoming federal election. That is the start, in my mind, of the journey.
You did say it wasn't very important. It was
very important. Divisions are known, and we have discovered that within our party base, there are persons who don't feel that a federal election is important. And part of our transitioning would mean to break that and to make sure that every voter on the island of Nevis understands that the federal election is an important election.
Any questions?
Yeah, you spoke about the exercise of losing.
Yes.
For you, the exercise of losing. For you, your experience, what does winning this, well, should I say winning, capturing this leadership position mean for you?
For
you personally?
For me personally,
yeah.
it's great joy.
Mm-hmm.
It is a responsibility, and for me to capture this position, I had to go back to basics. The same way I campaigned in 2006, that's the same king of campaign. I went back, and I believe I understand what is required even more to make sure that you're successful at the poll. I got the overwhelming support of the party, and that I am grateful for. So it was a learning experience for me, really. Campaigning now to the entire party and becoming victorious. I want to say that Dr. Daly, formidable opponent, he's the first vice president, and equally our friendship continues, and we would take this party forward. In preparing myself, I would tell you I would have looked at some of the struggles of some of the political parties in the region, and I didn't realize that having an election, the internal politics could be so troubling. But I believe we did well. We haven't had any casualties. We are all friends, and I believe this is the moment for us now to unite the party and move forward on to greater things.
As you mentioned that though, we did hear some murmurings during the conducting of the vote of the counts. Some persons didn't understand, certain processes. Was there anything that you think would rub people the wrong way?
What happened? We wanted to get the election in so that we could have had greater participation and perhaps of the newly elected leader within the convention. But like elections, sometimes we've been up for a whole night, for hours. So the 1 hour time slot that we had allocated was not enough before we go live in terms of our convention. And so we would just have to sharpen the process, but it didn't affect the result in any way. I want to thank the supervisor of election, and I'm telling you again, this was the first time in the history of the party that we would have gone through the democratic process, and that was one of the changes that I think we made in terms of this new party, making sure that in an open and transparent way people choose their leader. I would dare say to you, I am not sure that any other party in this federation would want to take on that challenge. The bold step has been made by the Legal Reformation Party. We are always trendsetters, and so it is there for them to understand. Internal politics has its issues. We are now moving beyond that and seeking to be united.